Hello everyone, welcome to the Joking Dolphin Gaming Pod. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew
Morning.
and Nathan.
Hello.
Okay, are we alright, chaps?
Well,
Yes.
clearly Nathan is.
Good. Living the dream.
I don't know about my ears.
Right, let's kick off with the news, shall we? I mentioned on the last podcast that EA executives were having a look at the future of Anthem because there was this whole Anthem next thing. It was an update, and then shortly after that podcast, they officially announced that's the end of Anthem. They're killing it. They're doing away with it. They took it round the back and they shot it.
Right. All right, Pantham then.
Yeah. It needed to happen. It was going nowhere, wasn't it?
No.
Was everybody actually playing the game?
I didn't even play it. No.
I've never bought it, so.
Well, it says it all, doesn't it?
This is probably why.
Clearly,
yeah,
it clearly didn't interest any of us. Right. That's that over with. They can move on to better things. Improve Mass Effect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But this has also led to another change from EA. So, with the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which was a single-player, experience campaign thing, and they've decided, and obviously because of Anthem's failure, they've decided that the next Dragon Age will go back to being a single-player RPG, because apparently that was going to be another live service game. So, what are your thoughts on that? Can you imagine if it had been? I don't know how that might have worked, because I've not played Age once, but
I've not. Well, I played the first Dragon Age, but that was like solid single player RPG. So,
yeah.
I
mean, it's good that they're not doing that anymore, but it's quite worrying the fact that they thought that would have been a good idea to begin with.
Well, I suppose we were in this age of everyone was making a live service game, weren't they? So, some a little bit more successful than others. Anthem clearly not very successful. I don't know. I'm trying to imagine like what a multiplayer in Dragon Age would be like. So I think Dragon Age, is it Inquisition?
Yeah.
I think did have a multiplayer, but it was similar to how they set up multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda, where it's it's a survival wave-based horde game type, I think. Where like the more successful you do, the more upgrades you get. You upgrade your characters that you can have. You can have different classes, so you can mix and match different play styles, which I thought worked quite well for Mass Effect 3. As much as they had microtransactions in them, I don't think you needed them at all to play it. So I don't know. I don't know what I could say about the Dragon Age one. Maybe it could have worked, but if it was going live service, then how would that work? Would it be like Destiny 2 or I suppose like Anthem, where it just crashed and burns?
I think that's probably more likely. But speaking of live service games that are crashing and burning, Avengers.
Here we go again.
So they've come out. So
okay.
They've come out saying that they're going to rework the XP route in it. So the big complaint about the game really is about lack of content. Really,
yeah.
Sort of thing. But Square Enix have just lost the plot basically with this, and they've come out with this statement saying that they're reworking all this XP and it's got gamers up in arms. It's just silly. So it's a statement. It says, our XP rework. Since we launched last September, our balance team has been evaluating the XP curve for leveling from 1 to 50, and we'll be making some changes to address 2 core issues. The current XP curve isn't really a curve at all. In most RPGs, the amount of XP you need to level up increases as you gain levels in a curve, but our system is a straight line. This has led to pacing issues, such as skill points currently being rewarded too fast. I think if there's one complaint to be made in that game, it's not that. Which may be confusing and overwhelming to newer players.
One new
We
player.
want exactly. This is the thing. There are going to be any new players. We want each decision to invest. We want each decision to invest in a skill or heroic to be more meaningful. Makes much sense to me. But based on these issues, we'll be increasing the amount of XP needed to level up, so they're making a grindy game even more grindy. Starting from around level 25. This amount will increase the closer you get to level 50, so that it will take longer to reach higher levels, and will only affect character level, not power level. If you already have level 50 characters, which is the current maximum, this won't affect you. If you have a character who isn't level 50 and want to speed up your progress, take this time to do so before the update on March 18th, because that's when the Hawkeye DLC will drop, and that's when these effects will take into this will take into effect.
Yeah.
And there's a little note that just says, due to a bug we discovered, players could level characters at a blistering rate if they had multiple high-end characters. We intend to fix this issue once Clint arrives. What a load of crap, basically. It's just
slowing down the leveling process is really going to bring new players on board, isn't it?
yeah, it's just, I just can't fathom what they're thinking here. But then one of the developers took to Reddit to try and clarify.
It's never a good idea.
And it makes things even stupider. So I don't know who it was exactly, but it's a developer. It says, we wanted to offer some more clarification and details on the recently announced XP change. We did not change XP to increase grind for grind's sake. I think it did. Our initial blog was not comprehensive enough to convey what we were doing and why, so we caused confusion. We get it. So what are we doing and why? Currently, as you get to higher levels, the XP required between levels didn't scale well, but your ability to crush enemies certainly does speed up at higher levels. So you could end up leveling up, or dinging, as they call it, 2 to 3 times per mission, with missions taking about 10 to 20 minutes in length. So what's the problem? This is great, you might say. Yeah, it is. The problem we are seeing and hearing, I don't know who's telling that, was that you would immediately get more skill points than you had time to review, apply, and get used to before embarking on your next mission and gaining your next few levels. Hopefully you can see the issue here.
Yeah, I hate it when I get too many points on my FIFA Pro, so I have to come out and apply them.
I just don't know what to do with all these FIFA points. Yeah,
it's the same thing pretty much. That's the way I see it anyway.
So carries on.
Really
we want people to level up. In fact, we really want to see more people level up more heroes, as playing the full Avenger roster should be the most fun thing you can do. But we don't want the leveling up experience to be too overwhelming or diminish exploring each skill purchase. So we smoothed out the higher level curves to make it so you were less likely to ding more than once or twice per mission at the higher end. There is so much variability in how quick you can gain XP, level types, mission selection, etc. But the end result of our tuning was meant to add around 3 to 5 hours to reach the maximum level in total.
Okay.
This means leveling at a steadier pace around every 2 to 4 missions at the upper end. We consider this a way to achieve clearer ding thresholds and more time to engage with and enjoy each skill purchase. We also tuned the game to make early leveling slightly faster, giving players more advantage against enemies when first starting out, and hopefully making them feel more like a superhero faster. Lastly, more powerful enemies will grant additional XP, which makes them more rewarding to take down. Hopefully this clears things up and offers a better vision of what we're doing with the XP change, and will work better to make things clearer when we share this source of information. I find this really staggeringly stupid. Where's the logic behind any of it?
One question I've got, I've not played this, and I know you two probably have, so I just want to
I
query this.
Well, you've only played the base. So.
So are the missions varied enough to warrant an extra 3 to 5 hours play to max out your level?
No.
Otherwise, what's the point? You're just going to get people.
Because the thing is, this for each character,
off.
isn't it?
Yeah. I can't really say much because
You stopped playing, is that what?
Well, it wasn't that like I'd stopped playing out of boredom. I was actually forced to stop playing because an update they introduced broke my game. So
Right.
that was the reason why I didn't go back to it. So I can't I'd finished the campaign and I did a few of the I suppose post campaign content that they've got, but I've not done everything. But so I can't really comment about it, but just everything how they've structured this is just like I could come up with a better reason of why they've done this, and all they could have needed to have done is said, right, we think late game content is a bit too easy and isn't really keeping people engaged because everyone's leveling up too quickly. You come up a little bit too overpowered. The game just doesn't feel challenging anymore. There's no challenge to it. So we've adjusted XP at that point. But then adjusting XP at the other end to make you feel a little bit better starting off with is also a good thing to introduce people into the game without it being too hard straight away. So there's a better kind of learning curve of, okay, so, starting enemies get used to them, and then the new, I suppose, powerful enemies will come a little bit more challenging as I go through the game. That's how that's how I think most games should be, maybe, unless you're Dark Souls, in which case every enemy you come across has the potential to kill you in one hit. So, but it's just like the reason that they've come up with saying, I've already forgotten the reasoning because it's so silly for why they've done it. Like, you just said, well, we just want to make late game content a little bit more challenging, so we've adjusted the XPs, so you don't feel that you're getting. Well, you don't feel that the late game's too easy or whatnot. Not this balancing and hearing that people complain about it, 'cause I'm pretty sure not enough people to complain about.
To me, it just seems like an excuse to stretch out a game that already has a lack of content by just slowing you down. So you're just forced to play it for longer.
Yeah.
Because they're not introducing enough stuff. Well, they weren't enough to begin with.
Well, this is probably it. Is to slow people down so content can be dripped in a little bit easier. Well, a little bit quicker while you're not feeling like nothing's happening.
But Nathan, would you ever start playing the game now?
No.
I've
had too many bad things, and for me, in terms of the content, it's just not there.
Yeah, I weren't fussed after the beta, so
I've seen it for like 20 quid on hot UK deals, and it's not even come onto my radar. I mean, there's far better games that I can be playing. To be frank,
tell you what we need to do. We need to cut the campaign out of it, sell it separately at a cheaper price. That's what we need to do. Forget all the live service crap. I'd buy that.
It's too late.
I wouldn't mind just playing the campaign.
How much would you pay?
Buy it
10,
for like
£15 or something?
10 or something, and just play a campaign.
Well, it's been like 50% off on PlayStation Store for quite a long time. Clearly, because no one's buying the thing. So it's like, just please, for the sake of just buy it. It's still too much. It's still like 25 quid. It's just like, I'm still not paying 25 quid for that.
Right. If it came out on PS Plus, I'd give it an hour. I'd give it the hour challenge.
I'd give it the campaign. I'd do the campaign.
How long's the campaign? Do we know?
Mathew?
By an average 7-8 hours, maybe a bit longer.
It's not too bad then. It's what you'd expect from a single player campaign.
That's got
a multiplayer.
Yeah. See, this is the disappointing thing because, I would absolutely support people playing the campaign. It's got a brilliant campaign. I loved going through it. It's just everything kind of afterwards is what's disappointing.
Yeah.
And then throwing in updates that break my game. That's not going to get me to come back, is it?
Well, that's it. They've lost a player now that probably won't come back to it. I don't know if you ever will, Matt, but
we'll see, because I mean, I might come back to it if it ever gets to the point that it releases the Spider-Man character.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, if
Is that ever
whenever
gonna happen?
Spider-Man comes out, I might give it a go at that point just to see how he feels in that game. But
I'll have no players by that point.
I think this just displays how quickly we move on in terms of video games now, though. Like, Matt had a game-breaking update, and he's never gone back to it since. He's moved on to something else.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the unfortunate thing. If I can't play a game, then you lose my interest.
Yeah, then you move on to something else. That's it.
But they've still got you running. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Mm.
Need to fix their issues.
True. They got my money at full price as well. So,
but there's no. If you read that, what new player is ever going to start playing that now? Oh, we're going to make it more grindy for you. A game that was already massive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the grind.
It's all about the grind.
It needs like. It is an intervention similar to what like No Man's Sky got, where it's like just this massive update that's like absolutely new player friendly, welcomes people in, and has a hell of a lot more content than it's currently got.
Another game to die on its arse. Right.
Oh, that could happen.
Any other news?
I want to talk about the state of play.
Oh, you want to go straight into state of play?
Yeah.
Oh.
Juicy. I rather enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are pretty negative about it overall, and to be honest, I can see why.
I wasn't negative; they just weren't much about it.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying the general feeling that I'm getting is that there's quite a bit of negativity around it, because we did get a lot of game updates. We got the PS5. Well, we realised that Crash were going to be moving over to PS5, which is great for Crash players. I've played it on PS4. I can't wait to actually get a PS5 in 2025 and be able to play Crash Bandicoot with
just
the nice
PS6 comes out.
4K graphics and all that. So that's going to be a free upgrade, which is good. And then they showed off some other games. Like the ones that I really liked was Returnal, Solar Ash. Those two really stood out for me. I liked the look of Sifu as well. What did you think of that?
This is one that it was the one thing that I liked about it. Actually, two things, but
it gave me very like old boy / Daredevil in the hallway kind of vibes.
The
I'd
combat
love that if you just go down a hallway, just like fighting off enemies, throwing them into rooms. The
combat did look really brutal, didn't it? Like you felt the hits, which I always appreciate. And it seemed to have a really cool game mechanic where if you die in game, you start again but a bit older, which was quite interesting.
What about if you just keep dying? You just eventually just frail old man.
Trying to go through hallways.
Just like skeleton just walking through.
Yeah.
God, kill me now, I'm already dead.
Yeah. They showed us Five Nights at Freddy's as well. I don't think I'll be playing that. I don't know about you, Mark. Yeah. No. Like, too scary for me.
I can't even play like the original ones. Yeah. Jump scares aren't good for me. Although, like, fair play to just how massive the whole franchise got from like one game where it's just on a 2D like cylinder type thing, and now you're getting games that are like complete 3D roaming games. That's quite cool for where he started, and it's just one guy initially who made the whole thing. So I know it's got. I know people love the lore in that game and trying to work everything out and stuff. It's got crazy lore. I probably won't recommend diving in anymore.
The big news for me, though, coming out of this, is that Oddworld, Soulstone, coming to PS Plus.
Yeah, April. Can't wait. It's fantastic. I was actually going to pay for that game as well because I love a bit of Oddworld.
Yeah.
I love Abe and all his antics, all his burping and farting and everything. So So yeah, that's really positive. I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I'm quite happy because it looks like I'm getting a decent catalogue of PS5 games just on PS Plus before I get the console.
Well, that's it. We've been able to download a few so far, haven't we? So for when we do get the console again in 2025,
so Destruction All Stars,
Bugsnax,
Bugsnax, Maquette, which was one that I was really looking forward to. I think that's how you pronounce it, Maquette. Obviously, Oddworld, Maneater.
Yeah.
Came out.
Yeah.
Is that it so far?
Probably a couple more that I'm failing on, but it's really good that you're getting a library of games before you're even getting the console. Well, for most people anyway.
Because there was a few of these games were in the very initial PS showcase, back in the day when all these games were first revealed. Obviously, so Oddworld was shown then, and then that Maquette. Am I pronouncing that right? I can't remember. Was shown in it, and they were both games I was going to buy because I thought they looked really good. But now they both come into this. It's just amazing. Great time. Now just give us that hardware. Give us those PS5.
Produce the PS5.
Well, I mean, they're trying. I mean, if you're on like me who tries to get, I've had 2 in checkouts at this point. But every time I go to check out, it crashes. And then I get about 10,000 of people going, "I got mine!" Like, oh yeah, you bet you did.
Every time you send us a message, I'm just imagining your sad face.
This is the furthest I came to. I got as well. I had it in the checkout even before I got an alert from Twitter saying that the stock was in. Yeah, that's how close I got, and I was like, "Yeah, check out," and then website crash.
I'm just imagining that in real life. You've got the console, the checkout. Some guy just comes along, and goes, "Nope."
Yoink.
Oh, is this what you're wanting? Yeah, I really want it. I'm here first. Nope, mine now.
Yeah. The worst thing for me is that I actually get sent pictures of PS5s in the warehouse because my sister-in-law works at Argos. So they get them in, but they're all for online only. So she can't yank one away and give it to me. I pay for it, obviously. But
I pay for it, obviously.
But basically, they get a certain amount of consoles in, and then head office decide when they get put on the website. So that's why you find that they're going at these stupid times, because head office just sends an email, and then they get popped up on the website. It's insane.
Tell you what you should tell them to do. You just take one component out of it each time.
And then in 720,
build my own
then you can eventually get your PS5.
Just construct it again.
I think that'd be the one reason that I'd be tempted to get the discless version to get it a bit quicker.
Yeah. Well, the search continues.
Anyway, to the state of play again. So I think the last game that they showed off, you were quite interested in, weren't you, Matt?
Oh, of course.
Positive for you.
Massively positive. Seeing Final Fantasy VII Remake come to the PS5.
And it's going to be free on PS Plus as well.
Yes, well, should be free now, I think.
It's PS4 version, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you won't get that PS5.
Is there a little confusion about... So do you have to pay for this upgrade? I think you do, don't you?
You would, yeah.
I think you would if you don't own the game already. If you...
Oh, yeah. It's just buying a new game.
Well, obviously. Well, yeah. But I mean, I think if you had the PS Plus version, I think you might have to pay to upgrade it potentially.
Yeah, there'll be some sort of pass.
But if you, but is that just for the PS Plus version?
Yeah, I think so. It is a free upgrade if you own the game.
Right. Okay.
So the way I saw it is, if you owned it already in a disc version or you paid for it online, then you get the upgrade to PS5 for free. But if you get it via PS Plus, then you need to pay for the upgrade to get it on PS5.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is the DLC or something? Isn't it? I can't remember what it's called.
Yes. So it is called Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate.
Yeah.
So there's a bonus episode that they've made specifically for the PS5 version. What was slightly confusing about that is I don't know if you upgrade to the PS5 version, whether you also get that DLC for free or if that's a purchasable add-on. I think it's more likely this might be a purchasable add-on, but we'll see. But yeah, the upgrade should be pretty good. Like graphically, it looks much nicer. Especially, a lot of people complained about once you get sort of later into the game, some of the skyboxes seem a bit PS2 era, should we say?
Okay.
Although they said that they were meant to be high resolution textures. I think maybe just the game couldn't quite handle it at that point, maybe. But they made sure to, like, you could see like a side by side comparison between the PS4 and PS5 versions. Like, yep, no, those skyboxes look much better. So no, I can't wait to give me another excuse just to play Final Fantasy Remake again. Because
Yep.
Just a quick question, because I've not played any of them really. How close this remake? How close is it to the original one in terms of its story and plot? Is it actually similar, or is it cool? Or they made quite a few significant changes to it?
I think
Because
the
I might-
combat's
I might
different,
just-
isn't it?
How can I talk about this without trying to spoil it?
Well, say yes or no.
Say
Is
yes
it
or no.
similar or not?
I don't know, because it's a complex question. Even then, just saying
I
whether
thought
it's
it was a
yes or
simple
no.
question.
I'll say for the most part, yes, they follows the story closely.
Okay.
But I will. How can I best put this? It's a remake. No, it's not. Sorry. So from how I can interpret it from how a lot of people online have talked about this, it's a sequel disguised as a remake. That's the best I can say without trying to spoil the whole story.
Okay.
But the combat's really good in it. Like, I'd encourage people to play it if they like. It's not your typical Japanese RPG turn-based thing. Like, you do get to actually participate in fighting with your own actions. So.
I think we've established that Final Fantasy is not really something I'm particularly interested in, but I've got no excuse to at least try it, I guess.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's free.
give it the hour mark. See what you think.
Maybe for next time.
Stream it.
Oh yeah, you could stream it. That'd be
No,
cool.
'cause I
Stream it.
don't
I
want to
want to see your reactions.
because inevitably I'll find something too difficult. I'll just quit. So
It's not difficult. Stop it.
I think Mark will find his waifu and fall in love with JR.
He's gonna fall in love with Tifa and Ares and Jesse. Like,
these are just words now.
All of them.
these are just words. All the waifus.
Yeah.
Any other news?
Well, if I just spin off a slight bit from the state of play. So after State of Play was finished, Square Enix actually announced 2 new Final Fantasy VII mobile games that are going to come in soon. Well, not soon, but I think one set for this year, later this year, and another one is set in 2022. So the first one that they announced is called Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, and it is a weird genre that I didn't think Final Fantasy would go into, but there's going to be a new battle royale game because we don't have enough of them. Bit strange. Don't know why they've decided to go down the battle royale route for Final Fantasy, but I mean, it could be interesting. I mean, it's set so 30 years before the events that take place in the game, and it's very it's your kind of typical third-person battle royale kind of game. So, I think you'll be able to select your own loadouts, like guns that you want to use, your melee weapon, which is normally 10-foot sword. And then just stuff like you'll be able to select what I'm assuming is going to be materia, which is just kind of skills of like healing or elemental powers or just any kind of normal materia that you kind of know in Final Fantasy VII, unless you don't know it. As well as like you'll be able to have transport as well. So there's one where there's a guy just on a motorbike just riding off in the distance, and then another one that you're on a chocobo. So I'm assuming most of you might know chocobo, maybe.
Yeah, big bird thing, emu kind
Big
of thing.
bird chicken thing. Yeah.
It just makes me want to have a milkshake.
Okay. I will not pray further on that one. Yeah. I mean, it could be good. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, how it looked, graphically it looks pretty good for a mobile game. So I'm sure it'll be big in places like Japan, China. There seem to be the testing places for sort of games like this to start off with, and then eventually come over to the rest of the world. So we'll see how that kind of goes. The second one, a little bit more straightforward, is called Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which is going to be a chapter-structured single-player game that will cover the entire Final Fantasy timeline, which also includes. So what they did on the, I think it was the 10-year anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, they made what was called compilation of Final Fantasy VII, which was basically sort of stories set. Separate stories either set during the events or after events or even before the events that set it up Final Fantasy VII. So you had games like Crisis Core, which was a PSP title that was set about a year or so just before Final Fantasy VII. And there was stuff like Cerberus Crisis, I think. I might have that wrong. That involves a character that's in Final Fantasy VII called Vincent, who had his own game sort of set after Final Fantasy VII, and then there was the big animation movie Advent Children as well, which was also after Final Fantasy VII. So essentially, this one game is going to cover all of those through sort of chapters as they release. As they release, I suppose, maybe monthly or kind of in between. But it sounds like it's going to be a massive game because, there's just all that kind of history to cover, I suppose. But we'll see how it goes. Like it's so far it's structured. So the movement is very Final Fantasy VII-esque, but then when you go into battles, it's very reminiscent of Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I don't know if it's turn-based or not. It wasn't very open on that, but I suppose they just want to carry on milking that Final Fantasy VII cow as best as they can. So, we got any other news?
Have you heard this warning from Activision about Call of Duty?
What's the warning?
No.
They've warned, apparently, that a 500 gig console may no longer be able to hold Warzone, Black Ops Cold War, and Modern Warfare.
Oh no, I did hear that. Yeah, I did hear it.
So basically, they
made a game that's too big.
It's madness that they can't make their game smaller. It's just they're terrible at it. I think this is all intentional because they wanted it to be just the only game on your console.
Yeah.
So that you can't play anything else.
Well,
you know, these sweaty COD boys are all going to have it.
Yeah.
Not play anything else. It's the same as FIFA, isn't it? It's just like COD and FIFA. That's all that's going to be on these people's consoles.
Well, it'll be the first thing that's on my PS5.
I find it mind blowing that they can't make these games smaller, and every update's like 25 gig.
Exactly. What are you doing that's taking up that much space?
You see very little in game about it, though, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why does it need to be that big? This is the plan from the beginning.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll get to a case where it'll only hold one game. console. It'll just be one of the Call of Duty games.
No, it'll be something from CD Projekt probably. The next big game. They get too ambitious again.
What, when Cyberpunk just locks to your machine and doesn't let you install anything else?
Exactly.
No, I don't think they were over. I don't think that were a lot of gigs, though, was it?
I don't know. I've not got the game.
I think we're just speculating without.
Yeah.
No, this is the thing.
I was just joking.
It's not even close to any Call of Duty ones.
Well,
That's madness, though. You can only have 3 games on your console. Not even 3 games. Wild.
Well, it's a good thing that Sony announced that you'll be able to upgrade your storage in the summer once you start releasing the.
Onto this.
Oh, what cost, though? Oh, what cost?
Probably a lot, considering
Well,
the storage has got to be compatible with their custom SSD, and at the moment, nothing is out that is compatible with their SSD.
Yeah, so
it's going to be so expensive.
Additional drives will be enabled by a firmware update. Don't even have a PS5 yet, so I guess I don't have to worry about that.
I don't have to worry about it until I go.
Just buy one just for the Call of Duties, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. You could have a Call of Duty drive with like a bullet sticker on it or something.
All right, shall we? Okay, what was that?
No, I was saying just get like a digital edition PS5 for your Call of Duties, and then your disc version for everything else.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing. Right. TV chat.
TV.
So, Mr. Henry Cavill.
Ah, the man who makes building PCs sexy.
I'll take your word for it. I've not seen that.
Honestly, I would suggest anyone to watch that video. It's actually quite fascinating. Him just building a PC.
Okay. Well, so he put out a very interesting Instagram post. So in the post, it's like a black and white photo, and he's sat in a makeup chair, holding a blurred out piece of paper. And he was mentioning something about a new secret project, blah 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 blah. And Game Pressure used a tool called Focus Magic to partially unblur the words on the piece of paper. And apparently, some words can be identified on it, which include the words Cerberus, Talizora, and Geth. And anybody who knows what they means, that's in relation to Mass Effect.
There's also Reaper.
Reaper as well, yes.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on that? He seems to be really into his games.
I'm excited.
Sure.
I don't know. Come on.
I'm trying to take this with a pinch of salt because it's nothing confirmed or anything like that, and I'm only obviously we can only base this off what this one thing has said. But I'm excited if that is the case.
Yeah, well, it could be anything, couldn't it? It could be something live action going on, or maybe he's just got a part in the next Mass Effect.
Could be an animated thing, maybe. Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. We don't know it's a TV show exactly, do we?
No, all we know is it's Mass Effect related, but it could literally be anything. But I mean, I think we all know like Cavill's just like the Hollywood geek at this point. I mean, he somehow, I think him probably solely managed to get The Witcher kind of into live action because he was just such a big supporter for it and wanting to be the lead actor for it. And he's good in it anyway. Like he's really
he's clearly the best thing about that.
Geralt, so.
For me.
Oh yeah, him and Yennefer. Anyway, I suppose we'll see. Yaris. Suppose we'll see. But looks like we could be in for some exciting times for us Mass Effect fans. Hopefully we start pulling back into the goodness of what Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2 had, and not stop falling back for Andromeda Galaxy.
So I'm going to presume we'd be Commander Shep.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
No,
trying to think of what other characters he could be or not.
can be. Well, the latest game is going to be set like, I think, like 100 years or something. Or is it?
We don't know if this is going to be the original trilogy or what.
No, we don't actually, do we? We know one character from the original trilogy is going to be involved, but that doesn't say much because her species lasts a long time. I don't know.
Unless he's doing voice acting in the new one for someone.
Yeah. I mean, it could be the new
It's all
Captain
speculation,
Shepard.
though, isn't it? I mean, we
The
don't
new
know.
Commander
We
Shepard.
don't know who the lead character is in the new one. He could be that. Who knows?
True. Suppose we'll
It's
find out at some point.
It's interesting nonetheless. I like the fact that he's involved in something Mass Effect related.
I'm happy he's just involved in anything game related. He just seems to be like
Well,
a massive supporter of them, which is good.
Has anybody heard about the new Nintendo Switch rumors that have come out? Yeah.
Yes.
So apparently Nintendo are purchasing quite a few screens from Sony. So there are OLED 720p screens.
Samsung, not Sony.
I was going to
Samsung.
say it was Samsung, yeah.
Yeah. Samsung OLED 720p screens. They're going to be 7 inches, so slightly bigger than the current Switch. And judging on when they're going to be purchased, so production could be starting as soon as summer, and then that'll give us 4 to 5 months. So we could potentially see the new Switch before Christmas. I mean, that might be being too optimistic, but I think it'd be like the perfect time to drop a new console. But saying that, when they first dropped the Switch, that was like late February, early March time. So, well, we know Nintendo doesn't really care about the status quo when they drop the console. So it could be early 2022 at this stage, for all we know. But I think it's positive. So Bloomberg posted an article, and they just put a few of their comments in about what they think it's going to be. So apparently it's going to, whatever this is going to be, it's going to upscale to 4K, which I think it needs to do. Definitely in this day and age where you've got the Xbox Series X and the PS5 pushing to 8K now. They really need to catch up in terms of the resolution so they can keep getting them AAA games on their platform. Because at the minute, I mean, even with games like FIFA, for example, they're just getting the legacy editions because the Frostbite engine doesn't work on the Switch because it's not powerful enough to run it or run it well. So I think it definitely needs like a power upgrade and a resolution upgrade. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like if we can get it before Christmas, then great. But yeah, I think it's all positive. That's whatever's all this that's coming out so far. Because the Switch is, well, it's in its 5th year now, technically. So they need a hardware revision. Because it came out over 4 years ago.
No, it did. I mean, there's been talk about a Switch Pro for ages now. I think because I was reading the same report, the only thing that they really confirmed was that it was going to use this new Samsung OLED 7-inch screen, but undocked, it would still only be displaying at 720p in handheld mode. But obviously, once docked, they're wanting to support a 4K display. Not saying that games would be in 4K, but it'd be
upscaled
close.
to 4K.
Yeah, it'd be closer than what it is currently.
Do you think Oh, go on, Matt. Sorry.
That's all right. What I say is my only worrying thing from this report is that there's no mention of any improved components or like other than the display. They didn't say they would run games faster or anything, which is a bit. Do you know, like if they're just going to release a Switch that will support 4K docks, is that enough to warrant buying a new model if it's not going to improve games any other way?
I mean, I think I can see them potentially doing what they've done with the new 3DS, where some games might only run on the new version, potentially. Because I imagine the new one is going to be quite a bit more powerful. It needs to be, otherwise it can't upscale to 4K currently.
Well, yeah, that's the problem at the moment. Unless it's just a software update and it's really all the thing through the dock that's what's adding to that power.
Well, that's another thing I was going to ask. Is there going to be a new dock that'll hold all of the visual upgrades, or is it everything going to be on the new system? Because a lot of people have come out and said that they've got their own docks and they don't want another one, for example.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Like, if you got the new Switch Pro, if it doesn't work with the old dock, what do you do about that? I feel like there might not be a new dock, and it might just be a lot of software upgrades, maybe. But we'll see. I suppose we'll see. I don't know like the ins and outs of how the actual dock works with the Switch. Like, what does the dock do for it other than help display onto a TV?
Forgive me, but because I don't have one, does the dock not come with the Switch then?
It does.
Yeah, no, the dock does. Yeah.
But you could at one point, they're like gold dust now, but you could buy like additional docks for £80. Right. So that you could have them in like each room, and then you could take your Switch from one room to another. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the dock, all I know about that is that it does, once your system is docked, it upscales to 1080p at that point from what the current resolution is. So I do think the dock gives it some sort of power boost, but that's why I'm thinking from my point of view they'll probably revise the dock, but maybe when you slot it into an old dock, it'll just give it whatever resolution it can through that dock. Maybe.
Maybe. Suppose we'll have to find out and wait and see on that.
But it's still early days yet, so I suppose we'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Did anybody watch the Pokemon Presents?
I did.
Did you? What did you think? I really enjoyed the first few minutes, when they went through the different generations. They were gaming, anime, and then everything that came in between, all the innovations for each Pokemon generation. I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. It was a full-on nostalgia trip.
Well, it was, wasn't it? It was a really nice celebration of the history of Pokemon through all media, really. Like, even the cards got mentioned every generation we got to.
Yeah.
Pulling out those rare Charizard cards.
Good. Exactly.
No, it was really good. I enjoyed all of it, really. It was a nice celebration of Pokemon. And we got to see a little bit more of the new Pokemon Snap, which I'm really looking forward to because I love the original game.
Yeah, it does look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I just think graphically this is the best that Pokemon will ever look until we get a Switch Pro. At least at this point, because how the game works is it's an on rails shoot 'em up technically, but you don't actually shoot people. You shoot with the camera.
Yeah, so you can throw things at the Pokemon like apples. Well, I thought they were apples, but they called it something else, whatever the fruit was. The in-universe Pokemon fruit. Do so you could watch them eat, and then they'd kind of do a smile or something, so you could take a better picture.
Yeah.
I liked those light orbs you could throw as well that made the Pokemon glow, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was wondering what you actually do with those other than just make them glow. I wonder if there's some sort of actual use behind them.
Well, there is a night mode, isn't there? You saw certain things glow when it came to nighttime. So I think if you are going through it at night, then you can take better pictures of the Pokemon and get a better star rating. So I think it all slots into that. But yeah, I'd not played the original Pokemon Snap, but this one does look really, really nice. And not long to wait either, because it's coming out on the 30th of April. So yeah, it should be fun. Oh,
Hopefully.
another thing that I noticed, the photo mode looks pretty cool as well. Because they've got this thing where you can upload like photos that you've done of you've taken of the Pokemon to like this like vast server where everybody can upload, and then they'll like pick some
Oh,
out,
yeah.
showcase them, and
Yeah.
like you can get like you can get ratings and all that. So yeah, it seems like they're trying to make like a little community around it as well, which is good.
Yeah, no, that should be fun because they've got a little like photo edit where you can put on like stickers and stuff to make the photos probably stand out a little better. No, it should be good. I do wonder like how many Pokemon is going to be in it because it's like I remember the first game doesn't have all the Pokemon in, but the levels are like situated around the Pokemon Bear anyway, because it's really cool seeing like I think I mentioned before, like one of the levels where you're on like a stream and you can lead a Magikarp into the waterfall with apples, and once it gets into the waterfall, it'll come out evolved as a Gyarados.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's a really cool photo thing. And if it has more stuff like this in the new game, they're brilliant. Because I loved seeing the bit where I think you threw like the apple in the water, and like the Venusaur like does a dive into the water.
Yeah, he like caught in mid dive, which is
yeah.
really good. Yeah.
No, it seems like it'd be quite a fun game. Really relaxing, not to really think too much about it, but it'll just be fun.
That's it. That's what gaming should be all about.
Well, that's what Pokemon seems to be about.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Definitely. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Mm.
And I think after that, then they showed off the new Diamond and Pearl remakes that have been much talked about in the last couple of months. So it's official. So late 2021, they're going to be coming out with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So they're going to be faithful remakes to the originals that came out on the DS, which is good. I enjoyed Diamond and Pearl for what they were. Thought they were really good games. I can't wait to play them again. In terms of the graphical side, it did look to be a mix between like Sword and Shield and maybe like X and Y, like a mix between like the 3DS and the Switch, like a halfway between the two for me.
Yeah,
but it did look really good, definitely.
I think seeing the chat online, people were cut off by the graphic style, because I think up till this point, the games that were remade in the style of like that generation's style, I suppose. So like like Fire Red, Leaf Green looked like
Ruby, Sapphire,
Ruby
and
and
Emerald.
Sapphire. Yeah, it had that style. And then Soul, Silver, and
Heart Gold
looked like was it Diamond and Pearl at that point, that style.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then again, the same for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire looked like Sun and Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Sun and Moon? No, X and Y. Sorry. Yeah, X and Y. No, yeah, X and Y. Sorry. I think I was like, where was it actually? Was it between?
Yeah, they were both on 3DS, so you're probably about right.
Yeah, well, they're all on 3DS, so
yeah.
So that style. So I think people were like anticipating that Diamond and the Pearl remake were gonna kind of look like Sword and Shield, but instead it's more of a faithful. I think that's what they called it. It was more of a faithful remake of actually just being the original game, but just kind of souped up in graphics, basically.
Yeah.
But the battle style is going to be similar to Sword and Shield anyway. So, I think I don't know if people liked it so much, but I thought it was fine. Graphics look cute. They look clean, very colourful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what else I want from a Pokemon game.
Yeah, that's it. That's a Pokemon game, isn't it? So
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to get my hands on it, and then me and Piplup are gonna go back through the region again.
Yep, back through Sinnoh. What would be interesting is if it'll be completely refaithful, completely faithful. Let's say it right. I'll put remake and faithful into next to each other. That's it. That's the new category now. There's a faithful remix. Well, whether they can have like extra content like the other remakes had as well. So like, obviously with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you had the whole episode.
Yeah, the end game
Emerald
stuff
one.
with Rayquaza.
Yeah, and then getting like the Mega Rayquaza out of it.
Hmm.
So that, unfortunately, I think this was where, for me, Pokemon generation-wise, I started slipping off. So I never completed Diamond and Pearl.
Hmm.
So I don't know exactly where the whole story goes. So for me, this is probably going to be like going through a new game again. But it'd be interesting to see if they have anything new. I'd like to see something new. But I mean, if they don't, they don't.
Yeah. Well, as we saw a bit later on in the presents, this is just going to tide us over until the next game we talk about. But we'll get there. So these Diamond and Pearl remakes are going to be developed by Ilka Inc. So not Game Freak, but they're focusing on something else.
Yeah, new developers finally working on a Pokemon game, which I think they should do more often. Because I think they've worked on some at Pokemon. I can't remember their history. And it's like might have been Shuffle. I can't be can't confirm on that, but I know they worked on some Pokemon spin-off games. But it's the first time they're actually working on a full featured Pokemon game. So we'll see how they do. Hopefully they'll do well. Because I like to see Pokemon being used more outside of what they normally do. Like I want a remake to Pokken Tournament.
Oh yeah.
Because I thought it was actually quite a good fighting game, but I don't think it had the reach that others have, like Tekken and that. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I did enjoy Pokken Tournament for what it were. I enjoyed like the Mega Evolutions and stuff that you could do, and like all the attacks looked pretty cool. So yeah. Anyway, on to the next game. So they came out and told us that Game Freak had been working on Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, I've got to admit, I saw the trailer and it did look rough. You could tell like some of the gameplay within it was really choppy. But it did look good. It was like it's an open world RPG style Pokemon game. It's what we've been wanting for years. It's what I've been wanting for years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It in terms of its graphical style, it looked like Breath of the Wild esque in terms of the way it looked.
Okay.
I don't know what your thoughts were on it, Matt, but
I'll give you a esque because like a lot of articles that I've been reading on this is like, oh, it's Pokemon meets Breath of the Wild, and it's like, I've had enough of this trope already. Everyone's saying something looks like Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Well, if the boot fits.
Yeah, but it's like Pikachu's foot that's in the boot. You know, it's its own thing. Probably not really, but no, it's when I saw it, I was actually quite blown away. As much as that, like, okay, some stuff did look rough. Like there was what's the bell Pokemon called?
Oh yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it just like chopped like downward straight.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like going up and down, being like 3 frames per second compared to the rest of the game. It did look a bit like, ooh, not great. But the rest of it that they showed off is very promising. At least, I mean, finally having a fully open world Pokemon game, I think, is what we all wanted. And the fighting looks quite a little free from as well. Like it still looks like it's turn based, but the battle happens there and then. It doesn't like, oh, we're gonna go
into a cut screen
warp
and
to
then
yeah.
Yeah.
You're just going to walk to this generic grass field and you go into a battle game. No, you battle there and then, even if it's on a slope.
Mm-hmm.
And the animation wise looks interesting. I'd like to see. I think I'd like to see this game in about 6 months' time, once they've got a little bit more kind of polished the game and looks a little bit better.
Well, they've said it's going to be coming out in early 2022. So, I mean, if they could, if the Switch Pro does come out and that is real, they could potentially package this with that at the same time. If it's going to be out in early 2022, that could be an idea.
Yeah.
One thing that I excuse me. One thing that I liked about this game is is when it's set, because all the other Pokemon games is generally set like present day for when they're released, but this one's set in the past. So I think that'll give us a new aesthetic. I don't know if you noticed in the trailer, the Pokeballs were like all metal and wood, so it's like Pokeballs from the past.
Yeah. No, that was cool.
Yeah, and so it's set in the Sinnoh region, but however many years in the past.
Feudal.
Yeah, like feudal Japan style by the looks of the clothes. But one thing that threw me a bit was when it popped up with the starters. I'm like, what's Cyndaquil doing there? He weren't Sinnoh, but then as we went through the trailer, it basically a load of Pokemon trainers from all around the world came to Sinnoh as like the new frontier kind of thing. And it's your job as a trainer to try and map the first Pokedex in Sinnoh, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I was a bit taken back seeing Rowlet more than now. I was like, what's the grass owl doing there? You want to be in Hawaii. That's what.
Yeah.
But no, it is a good explanation of like seeing how kind of Pokemon started, and then like, you know, back then there wasn't any real regions. Pokemon just kind of were everywhere at that point, so they didn't have their own place to be. I think what actually might trip this game up a little bit is if we start seeing regional based Pokemon in this one, because those Pokemon are meant to be only exclusive to those regions. They shouldn't
like a
appear.
Alolan Meowth, for example, popping up.
Yeah, if I see like Galarian wheezing, like I'm gonna be like, that's a bit strange, but I'm sure they'll be smart about that and know not to do it.
Yeah.
No, but it should be good. Like I hope by the time it comes out, the world looks a little bit more populated than it did do. Like I want to see.
Yeah, it did look a bit sparse, didn't it?
Yeah, I want to see like other trainers kind of doing stuff, and maybe not necessarily more Pokemon appear around, but at least kind of just
some stuff happening.
Yeah, because I think that's my complaint in Sword and Shield, the first wild area. Pokemon wise, it's fine. There's plenty of Pokemon around, but kind of outside of that, nothing else is really happening. So it feels very empty unless obviously you're going online, and then it's just a like fest of other Pokemon trainers biking around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more of its DLC where more stuff's actually happening outside of stuff than it's the base game. But no, I'm really looking forward to this. It should be, fingers crossed, really good. And it's just single player, so there's going to be no multiplayer for it. So I hope it does well, because it sounds like this might be like a new spin-off series they might start doing alongside like the main tile games. Just like do more of this. Like I want to know the legend of, I don't know, Mewtwo or something.
Yeah, just like Kanto, but 500 years in the past or something.
Yeah,
before the Great Pokemon War. Anyway,
get to see Sensei Oak.
Yeah, Oak as a kid.
Oak as a kid, yeah. He's forever aging.
Anyway, yeah, but I thought overall the Pokemon Presents was really good. I think it hit all the right notes in terms of like what it showed us, and it definitely hit right in the nostalgia. So yeah, I thought it was really, really positive present, and I really enjoyed it. So
good,
yeah, all good from me.
So publisher Paradox has pulled Hardsuit Labs from development of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. And the game has been delayed indefinitely.
Oh no.
So things aren't going well there. So
No.
apparently back in August last year, there was like some reshuffling.
Yeah.
So lead narrative designer Brian Mitsoda and creative director Kai Clooney were fired from the project. Then in October, later on, Paradox confirmed that senior narrative designer Cara Ellison had left the project. He's no longer working with them. So something's clearly not going right over there.
No, clearly not.
This is something you'd be looking forward to, particularly, isn't it, Matt? This game.
Well, I'll go and pre-order.
Well, they've also canned pre-orders now, so you can't do that. Well, anymore.
Oh, you go. Oh, sorry. Like, the Canva pre-order. Where's my money?
Well, I don't think they've done that, but you can't pre-order it now from now.
This is disappointing for me because, like, when they first showed it, I was looking forward to it. I was like, okay, this looks pretty cool. I always wanted a sequel to this game because the original was a bit of a cult classic. But just hearing all the news of people leaving. I mean, it started with them having to actually distance themselves from a former writer as well, because apparently there was some sexual allegations alleged to him. Chris, I forget what his last name. That's it. Yeah. So that kind of started the bad news. Then it's just been bad news from there on in, hasn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Apparently they're working with a new studio partner to finish, aren't they? But at this time, they've just not got a release date anymore. I think because of this, I think Hardsuit Labs have had to lay off quite a bit of staff as well because of it, which is never good news at all, especially in this day and age at the moment. So I think it's just going to be a cursed game for me. Might end up being a bit Duke Nukem-ish. Ah, dear.
Better get your pre-order cancelled, Matt. You might never get your money back.
We'll see. I'm still hopeful that I get the stuff that I pre-ordered. Maybe not how I want it, but
When was it supposed to release? Do we know?
Ooh.
When you pre-ordered it, when was it supposed to release? Or was it already supposed to have been out? I don't know.
No. When I pre-ordered it, it was just announced, and that was back in 2019. I think it was due out in 2020, and then.
It says here the first quarter of 2020.
Yeah.
Before being delayed twice.
And then, it's been delayed twice. I mean, obviously the pandemic's not helped at all. They've probably struggled. It sounds like they've probably struggled more than most developers have.
Well, it seems like there's more creative. There's something more behind the scenes than just.
It could be.
To have three key people leave the project, like key creative.
They've got to be some sort of culture issue there that's causing them to leave.
Yeah.
And now they pulled the whole development team. It's just like, that's very weird.
It's a bit strange. It feels very kind of what happened to Metal Gear Rising, where it was meant to be internal and for whatever reason wasn't working, and so Kojima outsourced it to Platinum, and then they just like, we'll just put our usual Platinum spin on it, make it at least a solid hack and slash game, and there we go. But this just sounds worse. So I suppose we'll see when the time comes if it can be rescued or if it eventually gets cancelled. Right, I want to end on a bit of a positive note and something.
Positive. Let's end on a positive. We like positive ends.
We like positive end. So something probably a bit closer for you, Mark. Don't know whether you heard this or not, but two senior developers at Sucker Punch Nate Fox, who is the game director, and Jason Connell, who is the creative director, will become permanent tourism ambassadors for the city of Tsushima.
Oh,
I heard this as well. Yeah.
If
I'm not entirely sure what it entails exactly, but I like the sound of it.
Nice sound of it. Well, it's just for the work that they've done, you know, to bring, I suppose, the world's eye on the Sea of Tsushima about the history of it, and the work they did as well for the funding, wasn't it? Of the was it the gate, wasn't it? I feel like I was doing YMCA there for a second.
The gates.
The gates. So just to bring up a statement from the Tsushima mayor, Horiko Hitakatsu. I probably said that wrong. Apologies. So he's come out and said that Fox and Canal spread. This was explaining why they were getting the ambassadorships. They're saying that Fox and Canal spread the name and history of Tsushima to the whole world in such a wonderful way. Even a lot of Japanese people do not know the history of the Genko period. When it comes to the world, the name and location of Tsushima is literally unknown, so I cannot thank them enough for telling our story with such phenomenal graphics and profound stories. And he went on saying that normally the award would be given to noble Japanese people. This is the first time there's been awarded to someone who has spread the name and history of Tsushima through their works.
What?
And carrying on saying that the appointment of tourism ambassador is from today until Mr. Jason and Mr. Nate no longer wish to have it. And he carried on saying that, in fact, I've been thinking and discussing about appointing the role to them ever since I discovered they were using Tsushima's name as the name of their work. He added that I did not appoint them for the purpose of having them do anything in the future. Thanks to the two of them, Sucker Punch Productions and SIE, I've heard from people all over the world who have learned about Tsushima through their works and now want to see, know, and go to Tsushima. So, I mean, they've just done magnificent work with the game to be able to spread word of the sea and its history through the game, which is just so nice to read and find out.
Yeah,
it makes me actually want to play the game now and actually learn about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just to add a bit to that actually. So the city is going to be collaborating with Sony Interactive Entertainment to set up a brand new tourism campaign based on the game. So we might be seeing some more things shortly in regards to that. So as Matt said before, it's designed to encourage fans to learn more about the island and its key landmarks, which should, from that, hopefully bring more tourism, which is definitely positive.
I was going to say that there's one sad aspect of this is that obviously the game released in the middle of the pandemic, so tourism, nobody could go anywhere. So I think Tsushima's ended up missing out a lot of potential tourism during that period. But hopefully, when things open up, and with these endeavours obviously going ahead, we just mentioned, hopefully that'll pull all the people in.
Fingers crossed. I'd definitely like to go there to see all the history in that.
Yeah, very good. Joking Dolphin trip to Tsushima.
That's
confirmed.
Joking Dolphin on tour.
Yep.
On tour.
Can we do the? Can we reenact the start of the game and I'll just chuck alcohol on somebody and set them on fire?
Go on, Matt. You can volunteer for that.
What? It's a really important role, Matt.
Yeah.
No.
But Matt, you're their strongest warrior.
Unless you can be in like all the flame
retardant outfit.
I didn't want to say the word because I'd probably end up saying the other one.
That's what it is, though.
I know it is, but it just sounds too close. That's kind of all that, like, completely covered on me. Then maybe I'll.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll take the best of precautions. Don't worry. Right. Anyway.
Live burning. That'll be brilliant. Try to have this on a positive note. No, you
It's
end
turn
it
into
on
the Wicker Man.
one
all
murder
of a sudden.
someone.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Right. So, shall we get into what we've been playing then?
Sure, why not?
Awesomes. Right.
You
Would
first.
you like to kick us off, Mark?
Ooh, this is gonna be long.
Well, actually, it's going to be quite short because I've actually played nothing.
Oh,
Ow.
I'm shocked.
Well, I played a bit more Hitman, but that is all I've played. I've not played any new games. But I'm going to go slightly off track, and I'm going to tell you what I've watched instead.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
So I finally actually got around to watch the Assassin's Creed film.
Oh, really?
Have either of you seen
Is that
it?
the one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No,
No, Michael Fassbender.
Right. Okay. I don't know why I think he's in it all the time.
So
He
it's
wins
about-
something.
Jake Gyllenhaal was in Prince of Persia, was he not?
Yes, that's the one. I'm getting mixed up with
you're
them.
thinking of.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Mark.
Basically, the story is about something about finding the
About
apple of
assassins
Eden.
and a creed.
About the apple of Eden, which is like apparently holds man's first disobedience or something like that, and it was the key to free will or whatever. Basically, the film is naff. It's not very good at all. The only thing keeping it going is Michael Fassbender. He's pretty good. I quite like him. But it's the most interesting part of the film for me, because the games, it's like I like the historical stuff, but I don't care about the modern day stuff.
Yeah.
In the film, it was actually the opposite for me. I was more
You like
interested.
the modern
I was more interested in the modern in this day stuff than the old stuff.
What I actually liked, because it's in the trailers and that, of how they managed to adapt the anime stuff to real life action, of like actually get hooked up to this massive machine where the movements you do in the history you're actually doing in real life, and that's how you learn. That's how the bleed effect works, which I thought was a really nice way of explaining how you would get the bleeding effect.
Yeah, that is great. Another thing is that it does move along at a decent pace because it's 2 hours long, and it never slowed down in terms. It never felt.
That's good.
Well, it wasn't. I say boring. It's just not a very good plot. But that's just the nature of video game films, I think.
I think the issue. I mean, I've not watched it, but from getting the comments from everyone, the issue with the film is trying to explain about 5-6 games worth of history in one film, because it's not really an introduction film, is it, per se?
Not really. No. I mean,
So it's like,
I don't think it does a very good job at explaining what the whole thing is, particularly at the start.
It's like it's a film made for people that played the games,
pretty much,
and not really like a introduction to what the game's history is, really. But because they were going to do a whole series, weren't they, where the films were tied to the games. What happened in the films, you'd find out through the games. I don't know if any games that have come out since the film have referenced back to the film or not.
They probably don't, and they want it to die a death.
Well, they have announced they're going to do a TV series, didn't they?
Yes. Well, it was Netflix, wasn't it? It was one of Netflix. Many adaptations.
The film is on Netflix at the moment, so that's what I'm watching now.
How long is it?
2 hours. Or just under.
I'm gonna have to give it a watch because I was interested in it when it came out, but then all reviews came out. I was like, oh, okay, maybe not.
Since we're going down this path, I've got one question for you, Mark. How many dolphin flippers out of 10 would you give it?
5.5.
5.5 dolphin flippers. That's how we rate things now, everybody.
Okay, I feel like I wasn't
actually
consulted on this,
I'll
but
bump it up to 6 because Michael Fassbender I do like.
Cool.
If he wasn't in it, I think it just would be dipping.
Well, he carries most of the X-Men films now, doesn't he? So
yeah, he carries most films he's in, to be honest.
True.
But I've watched one other thing. Now, back in the early days of the pod, I mentioned to celebrate PlayStation's anniversary, it's going to be a documentary film.
Yeah.
called From Bedrooms to Billions,
Ooh.
PlayStation Revolution.
It's got it.
Ooh.
I watched it. It's a long documentary. It's about 2 hours, 50 minutes long.
Wow.
It's got some extras on it as well. But basically, this tells the story, obviously, of the original PlayStation's creation.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts off with like introducing how Sega and Nintendo were dominating the console market to begin with, and then there was the whole Nintendo/Sony thing that was going to happen, and then what happened to that, and then obviously what kickstarted with the PlayStation. So it's about 2/3 of the film is about the original PlayStation, about how that came to be, and then how the games came up and things like that. But then there's like 20 minutes for like all the other generations. So basically,
they're not as important.
It's a bit jarring, but the PlayStation they're slightly less interested. But the PlayStation 1 stuff is great. It's really good. So if you're into it, you watch it. It's a fascinating documentary. There's a few extras.
What's it called again?
From Bedrooms to Billions, the PlayStation Revolution.
Okay.
Now,
where did you buy it?
This was off Amazon.
Cool.
Now that's actually the third documentary they've done. There's one just called From Bedrooms to Billions, which is about the British video game industry. It was their first one, but I've not watched that. But that's supposed to be very good. And then they did another one which was about the Amiga, called the Amiga Years, I think it was called. And then that one.
Oh yeah.
I would highly recommend you to watch that. It's really good, particularly the PS1 stuff.
I think there's something in the news recently I didn't bring up because I didn't read massively into it. I call it the headline. I think they did another one, but it was based on Nintendo. I think there's I
don't think it's these ones.
Oh, it might not be the same.
Probably okay. Well.
Yeah, there's one where there's they've got an interview with Phil Spencer talking about it all, which is already jarring seeing a Microsoft person talking about Nintendo. But I remember there's one quote where he's like, he still doesn't get the Nintendo 64 controller. Like, what's it about?
Well, it is built for an alien.
It's like three things in once. Like, and I entirely agree with him. It's the weirdest controller.
Listers of like interviews with like key figures in the PlayStation's history. So it's got like Mark Cerny and Hideo Kojima's in it as well. There's a bunch of people that I can't remember. Is it Phil Harrison? He's another one. Yeah, very good. Very good. I like that.
Okay.
But that's all. That's all I've watched. I've not played anything apart from a bit of Hitman, but I've still not finished that, so I'm still not going to continue talking about that. But hopefully, I'm off next week, so I might have time to do that.
Plenty of
go
time.
on, Nathan. We'll go with you.
Me? Okay. Right. So, I've been on the Nintendo hype train for the last couple of weeks. So I just want to bring up a couple of games that I've played. So the first one was Super Mario 3D Land. So, I don't know why, but I just got an itch to play on 3DS. And however I looked through my games, I thought, yeah, let's give this a try. And, well, as is the name, it's Mario in 3D. It's pretty much like Mario 64, but like condensed into level form. So you just go from level to level, passing it. I've just completed the first world, so there's 7 like main levels, and then there's the last level where you face Bowser. I've just completed that, so I'm on to the next world now. But yeah, it's just some good old-fashioned platforming action. Really enjoy it. It's good. That's one thing that I always tend to do. I just forget how much I really enjoy platforming games. Just the simplicity of them, and just the enjoyment that I get out of them, which is great. So I played that. That were all fun. Another game that I ended up playing a bit of was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So a bit of Switch action. So again, just played a few races on there. Did a Grand Prix or Grand Prix, whatever you want to say.
No.
No. Pre. It's pre.
Well, it's spelt with an X, but anyway.
Pre. Right. Get it right.
So yeah, just played a few races on that. Really enjoyed it. I'm still not very good at it. So I think the best that I can go to is like 200cc, and then I start getting my arse kicked. But yeah, just so much fun again. So I normally play with Peach for some reason, and I just kick I go for like this like little Mercedes Benz car that you can pick. So I always just go for that, even though it's probably one of the worst ones. But yeah, always fun. So yeah, I played a bit of that with a friend, so it's cool. Now another game that I played. Now this game's called The Long Dark. Don't read too much into that.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
So this one is a survival game. Now you crash land on a snowy mountain, and you've been impaled by some shrapnel from the plane that you fly, and you've got to scavenge whatever you can to try and survive. So there's a few things that you got to keep on top of. So your thirst, your sleep. You've got to keep warm as well because it's like in minus degrees where you are. You've got to like try and find shelter. So pretty much you've got to scavenge whatever you can to try and survive, while trying to go through and find your partner, which has gone somewhere as part of the crash land onto this mountain. Now, in playing this game, it's made me realise that I would never survive in the wilderness because when I first played it, within about 15 minutes, I'd frozen to death because I didn't realise what I needed to do to make a fire. So I had the matches, I had the kindling or whatever you call it to like light it, but I didn't know how to like get all the wood together that I scavenged to like make that side of it. So I ended up freezing to death as the wolves descended. There's wolves in this game as well that you've got to try and kind of you can't go up against them. You've got to like wait for them to pass, or you can try and like get around them by covering behind trees and stuff. But it's an interesting game. It piqued my interest because I saw somebody playing it on a video that I was watching, and they were dissecting it from like a real life point of view. Like, would you find these kind of materials? But yeah, I've tried again, and I'm getting a bit better. I'm trying to get through the story mode at the minute, trying to find the partner that I was on the plane with before it crashed. Because at the start of the film, at the start of the game, there's like an illness going around, and your partner's got like a briefcase with like something in there. You don't know what it is, and you've got to try and get her to this place with this briefcase because I think she's like a doctor, so she can try and like cure whatever's going on in the world.
The COVID vaccine.
Yeah, she's got the COVID vaccine. Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, that's like the premise to it. So you've got to find her and then get her to where she needs to be, but you've also got to survive yourself. But yeah, I mean, for the experience, it's worth it. I think because you've got to, when you first start it, you've got to find like medical supplies to try and patch your hand up because you're bleeding. So if you bleed, you've got to patch it up. If you burn yourself on some fire, you've got to like use ointment and then patch yourself up. So you've got to try and, I think there is a steep learning curve to it because you've got to know what certain things do, and it's not very forgiving in terms of how much time it gives you to learn these things. But yeah, I'd definitely say give it. Oh, go on.
That would just be that. Just my luck to build the fire and then burn myself.
Yeah, funnily enough, when the plane
You're
crashed,
freeze to death, but you burn to death.
Yeah. I like kind of walked into the fire because I was like, I bet it won't burn me. It burned me. And then I had to use most of the supplies that I could find. Yeah. So saying that, before my 20-minute like permafrost death, I did die one more time because basically I got myself burnt, and I was like, right, I'll give up. I'll try again. So I just jumped off a cliff.
As you do.
Cruel way of dying, but sure.
Yeah, so I thought I'll reset it and then we'll go from there. But yeah, it's a good game. If you want to hone your virtual survival skills, yeah. What about you, Matt?
Me, I've actually been playing quite a bit these last 2 weeks, so I'll get the usual way. Call of Duty. So I don't know if I spoke about this more on the last podcast, but I remember when when I was talking about when season 2 was coming out, the zombies mod was getting a new game mode called Outbreak, which was more kind of a open world-esque kind of zombies mode. I don't know if I elaborated more on it last time, so I wanted to kind of speak more about how I felt about the mode and kind of what you actually do in it. So there's three maps that you can warp in between. So you end up starting on one of them randomly, and they're all kind of as I described, they're all like fire team-esque kind of length maps. They're quite big maps. They're bigger than normal Call of Duty maps, but they're not quite big as like a Warzone map. It's like in between a Battle Royale and a normal, I don't know, a normal war map that you'd find in Modern Warfare, if you ever played War. So you spawn in, and there's always like one main objective you have to do on the map, but there can be a couple different what they're called world events that you can get involved in. So one of them can be like, to open this chest, you just have to survive a small wave of kind of slightly harder zombies and special / elite enemies that you come across. Or there's one where there's this like kind of rocket fuel thing where if you activate it, a dragon head comes out, and you have to kill zombies in this ring of fire to feed the dragon and its fuel. Which is quite interesting. And like the more you feed it, the better kind of value chest you get out of the event. So you can get stuff like a free perk out of it, or the power up that you've got becomes full, so you can use it or whatnot. You can get like better weapons and equipment and stuff. And the main objective really is to kind of complete the objective, and then a beacon will appear on the map. And if you go to that, you activate this other beacon, which you can choose to either then warp to the next map, which starts the next round, or you can exfil out, which then you've got about 2.5 minutes to get to another part of the map, while about 30 plus zombies and special elite enemies pretty much run after you and try and kill you before you get to the helicopter, which is quite exhilarating. It's quite fun just seeing this massive horde of zombies running at you. Just like, oh god. But I've actually really enjoyed this mod. It's definitely something I think the future of zombies can really put its hat on and try and improve and stuff. Because I think they mentioned sometime in season 3, they will add stuff like Easter egg stuff to it. So like normal zombie maps that have like a number of objectives to do, then like a boss at the end to complete, and it adds more to the story and stuff. They can start doing that to it and really add a lot of value to that mode. Make it like a highlight for Call of Duty kind of going forward. Really, I think it really add a lot to it. So that's Outbreak for Call of Duty, Cold War Zombies. What else have I been playing? I've been doing a little bit of Rock Band 4, as you might see with the guitar behind me. Not real guitar, I wish. So sometimes if I just want to if I can't think of anything to play, I'll just want to have a bit of a chill time playing games. I'll just jump on Rock Band and just, I suppose, rock out. I suppose. Although I've been actually trying to do the actual campaign, the on tour campaign stuff. So you go to like, you start for like a starting city. You do a bit of like what they call sets. So you'll play like 2-song or 3-song sets, and they can either be chosen at random, or you're given like an option of which songs you actually want to play in the set. I did one yesterday where it was like a 6-song set, but they were all random, and I'd never played the song before, and I was doing it on hard, so that was a bit tricky. Got through most of them to the point. Like I got like 80% through most of them, but yeah, playing songs on hard that I've never played before is a bit different. Like, and I've tried doing Dragon Force on hard, and no. Even on medium, it's a bit tricky, but just oh god, I don't know how people do it on like the hardest difficulty. You can see like videos of them just absolutely just
I've seen
fingers
people do
fingers
it
are going all over the
blindfolded
place.
and stuff. It's mad.
That's just memory and knowing when to hit the right button at the right time, but it plays so fast, it's ridiculous. So that ends my PS4 kind of side stuff. I recently jumped back on Hades on my Switch, and I'm just getting to a frustrating point now where I can get to the final boss twice and I just can't beat him. It's racking my brain on how to do it. I just don't know. There's just so much goes on in that final boss compared to all the other bosses. It's just like I can't find quite the right strategy yet of like what I should be doing, when to do it. You know, when to focus on the boss, when to focus on the little enemies that they end up spawning. And then there's these skull things that they fire that after a while they'll do like a pulse wave thing through most of the map. And if there's like 3 of them that I've not killed off, like 3 pulses coming at once, is just a bit too much. So it's getting difficult, but I'm enjoying the challenge because it's quite addictive in a way that like Dark Souls didn't grab me. Like I thought Dark Souls was brutal straight away, and there wasn't much of a way of kind of gradually getting into it. Whereas this one, I don't know, you learn more as you die. Like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. Okay, this enemy's got this enemy like attack pattern. I should be doing this when it's doing something. And then like each time you die, you just progress the story more through each character. You get to learn more of like their purpose in wanting Zagreus to make it to the outside of the underworld. And it seems like everyone's got their own agenda. It's pretty strange. It's like everyone's like fighting against each other, all the Olympian guards, and Hades just wants you to be an observant child. And then Chaos is just absolute weird person. But yeah, I'd honestly recommend Hades for anyone who's got a Switch or PC. I'd love to see it come to like the consoles as well. I'm sure it would eventually. Don't know why it wouldn't, but phenomenal game. I can see why it was given Game of the Year for some places. So yeah, it's brilliant. And then on the PC side of things, been playing more Phasmophobia, but this time they released like a big update yesterday, which changed a lot of stuff and how they worked and a lot of bug fixes and that. So it felt kind of fresh and new again. So the professional difficulty now, by default, the power at the place is switched off, which makes like all the rooms cold by default. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to actually find where the ghost's room is. Until you switch like the power on, which I think adds a lot more to the game. It definitely felt like professional difficulty was getting a little too easy, which then also resulted in 3 of 5 games of me dying, which is fun. It was not the first time I died because we were doing the prison level, and prison's like massive already, and it's already kind of difficult to find the ghost room. So we ended up splitting off. Like, my two mates kind of went upstairs. I just checked downstairs. They ended up finding the room pretty quickly, but then hunting started. So I was quite safe where I was. I wasn't really anywhere near the room. And then when it finished, I was like, all right, I'll come to you guys because you know where the room is. As I almost got there, another hunting started, so I had to back off, find another room to hide in. And somehow my one friend who hadn't left was somehow surviving through all this, even though he was closer to the ghost room than I was. And then when that finished, I was like, right, I'll come outside because we know where the room is, so I'll get stuff. I'm about 15 foot away from the exit door, and the hunting starts again. And now I'm closer to the ghosted room, which my friend is also like near there. So I went into like the second room on the left. As you come into the hallway, there's a second room on the left that I bailed into, and apparently the ghost room is right just upstairs above it. And this ghost just had like some end for me. I don't know what it was. Like, it just somehow found me and killed me. I was not impressed. And then the second one, I just yelped, "I'm dead," as it grabbed me. The second time I died, so that was fun.
We need to play that.
I think it'd be a fun game. I'd love for it to come to console at some point.
I mean, we'd all be just dead in the basement, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Wouldn't it?
Could I carry a van and leave you two to die?
Carry the van. I mean, you could stay in the van and like monitor like all the activity and cameras and stuff, so you can see like whenever the ghost starts hunting, you can see it walking about. Because like the third time that I died, I did it on purpose because I wanted to see what a hunting looked like while being in this like spiritual world that you end up in when you die. You end up in this like ghost version of where you are, where like all the doors are invisible, so you can just walk through wherever you want. And like when a hunting starts, you can see where the ghost spawns, and it disappears and reappears every so often. You see it like the pattern it takes. So that was quite cool. But like the first time it did it, I wanted it to kill one of my friends who was like willing to die just so I could see what happened. But this ghost was like stupid and went upstairs rather than the basement. It's like, why didn't you do that when I was originally dead? Like, beelined it for me first time. So, but no, it's cool. I really love Phasmophobia, and I think they added the new updates add a lot more difficulty to it, which makes it a little bit more playable again. So, adds a bit more fun to it. And the last thing that I've played recently is a little game called Valheim. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's like the latest.
A lot of people are.
Latest game to hit Twitch. Yeah, and making a lot of those back. So it's a third-person survival game that's based on Norse mythology. So you play as like a Viking in effect. And when you start, you've got this like little crow companion that comes in and out every so often. That it needs to tell you what you're doing or stuff that you found, telling you what you need to do and stuff. A little bit like a tutorial kind of Chow, I suppose, from Sonic Adventure 2, where he comes in all the time and annoys you with what you need to do. But it's a game that really doesn't hold your hand. Like, you start off and it's like you're practically naked. Not Rust levels naked. You know, you do wear pants. But yeah, it's, to me, the best way I could actually describe how the game felt to me is a bit like a third-person RuneScape. Like, I don't know if you've ever played RuneScape before, back in the good old days. But like, the more that you do something, the more that you level up that thing. Actually, probably best described as like a old school Morrowind, maybe. Sort of like that. Where you've got this vast open world, and the more you do stuff, the more you level up. So like, punch tree to knock it down, you level up your unarmed. and you wood cutting, and then you put the tree falls down. This log, you punch that enough times, that becomes 2 logs. Punch those, eventually you get wood, which then you can start building stuff and finding materials, and then you just do. Also, you can pretty much go anywhere you want, provided that there's not a massive troll who wants to kill you. Which is what happened when I first
Do you mean
played
like
it.
real trolls or trolls on the internet?
No, actual, like 20-foot tall trolls.
Okay.
Maybe not 20 foot, 15 probably. It was about the size of it. But there was one instance where I was playing with my friends, and they were leading to me this place that's called, like, I think it was like the Black Forest, something like that. And we're like, oh, we'll kill a troll. And I was like, okay, that'd be cool, I suppose. And then we found one, and like it turned around, and then it had this massive log, and then just whacked me and killed me in one hit. I was like, that's cool. It's a good introduction to Valheim, I suppose. So it's an interesting game. Built in the same vein as stuff like, I suppose, like DayZ and Rust and stuff like that, but more focus on PvE, because you can have your own server and just play with your friends. You don't have to play with other people, which is good. So, yeah, I think graphically as well, it's not the best looking game in the world, but it's definitely uses its colors really well. Like, there was a point where we got into a ship and we were just sailing the sea, and it was kind of like sunset was coming down, but you got all these like colors in the sky of like orange, yellow, gold, and there's this massive, like, I don't know what the tree is in Norse mythology, the life tree, I suppose, but you could see it like growing across the sky, which was really cool. But yeah, it's a fun game. I'd like to get into it more and hopefully delve more into what it's all about. So yeah, that's what all I've been playing the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so we move on to the Video Game Hall of Fame then.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where we take an in-depth look at a game of high quality or historical importance and induct it into our pantheon of games we feel deserve special recognition. Inductee this episode was first released in 1996 for the Game Boy. Developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo, it's Pokemon Red and Green, later released in the West in 1999 as Pokemon Red and Blue. So go on, lads. Right. Yep. No, there it goes.
Yep.
I don't even know what you call that thing.
It's a Pokeball.
I think we've established on this pod that I know nothing about Pokemon, but I know it brings joy to millions of people. So tell me what makes it so great. When this first arrived back in, well, being 1999 for you guys, yes.
Yeah.
What made it so great for you?
Yeah.
What was it about that grabbed you?
Well, before the games for me, it was the cards that started everything off. Because as everyone knows now, we got the game a couple of years later than they were released in Japan. So Japan got red and green, and we got blue and red, or red and blue.
Was there any reason for the one colour change?
Well, the thought behind it is that one of your friends would have blue, you would have the opposite colour, for example, red, and then you could trade Pokemon. So there was only certain Pokemon you could get on a certain game. So it kind of brought the art of like trading and like catching Pokemon with your friends and battling and all that kind of stuff.
What I meant though is, why was it called red and green?
Oh, I don't know.
And then just changed to blue. Why didn't they just keep it as red and green?
Well, I
the
think
West couldn't understand green.
Well, I think in terms of the Western audience, though this is what I've read anyway, blue and red are kind of more combative against each other.
Yeah, they're synonymous. You know,
yeah. But in Japan, there's less of that, and the more they go with the flow a bit more. So they've got red and green, which is not very combative. So
okay.
Well, red dominates green, so
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I started with the cards, and then I didn't play a Pokemon until probably the year 2000, and I'll be honest, when I started playing it, at that point how old would I have been? I probably would have been 8 when I started playing it. And I didn't read any of the dialogue. So there was one point in the game where I needed to take something back to Professor Oak, and I didn't know what to do, so I was like stuck in the first bit of the game. And then somehow I went back and I managed to get what I needed to back to Professor Oak so that I could continue the journey. But yeah, that was what got me stuck. But yeah, so just a bit of a premise about the start of the game itself. So Professor Oak comes to you and says, "Welcome to the world of Pokemon. Basically, there's loads of these different animals to collect, and he gives you like a little premise of the world. And then he asks who you are, because he's forgotten your name. He also forgets his nephew's name as well, so it's not just you he don't like.
Grandson.
His grandson. Yeah, he forgets his grandson's name. So yeah, you put your name in. So at the start, you've got like your attachment. It's like you are the trainer, and then I don't know about you, Matt, but I called my first rival Bumhead because I thought I was being all clever. Oh yeah, that's right, my grandson Bumhead, and I'm just there like rolling over in laughter, like hey, he called him Bumhead.
That's
Anyway.
a Nathan thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like the most Nathan thing I've ever heard.
I'm not the only one. I'm sure loads of you out there did that as well. Don't lie to me. Anyway. So you set yourself up a little character, and you've just and then you go and see Professor Oak to pick your Pokemon. So you got a choice of 3 Pokemon to start with. So you got Bulbasaur, a grass type. You got blooming heck, I forget now. Charmander, the fire type, and you got Squirtle, a water type. And now these 3 types like kind of offset each other. So water is strong against fire, fire is strong against grass, and you'll find that as you go through the game. That's
so this is very rock paper scissors like.
Yeah, that's right. In terms of the battles and the typings, yeah. So as you go through the game, the typings expand, and there's a few more things to try and remember. And your Pokemon has like a leveling system. So when you pick your first Pokemon, it starts at level 5, but it can go up to level 100, and that's the level cap. But between from level 5 to level 100, they actually evolve. So at certain stages, so I think it's I always forget this, level 16 or 18, it evolves into like a middle stage, and then at level 34 or 36, it evolves into its full stage. So there's like evolutions as well. But yeah, basically your job as the Pokemon trainer is to go out, try and collect all 150 Pokemon, and get these gym badges and beat the Pokemon League. So these gym badges are effectively like stages within the game. So they're like bosses in effect. So you've got to collect 8 of these badges, not badgers as in like little creatures, but badge. Badger. Mushroom. Yeah. And then once you get these 8 badges, then you can go and challenge the Pokemon League and try and become the champion. So that's kind of what you got to do. So there's two like kind of sides to the game. You've got to one, collect the badges and beat the Pokemon League, and the other side of it is you've got to catch them all, catch all 150 Pokemon. So yeah, that's kind of like the premise to the game itself. Do you want to add anything to that, Matt?
Well, to kind of come back to Mark's question, I think I got into Pokemon when the show started, because I think we got the show shown over here before the games. I think it's hard to recall, kind of back in 21 years. But I'm pretty sure I remember kind of seeing the show, really excited for it. And then my parents got me a Game Boy Color and both Red and Blue for No, I think I remember this correctly. I think it was actually for Christmas in '99. So I ended up getting both games, and just absolutely putting so many hours into both of them. I think my favorite was Blue. I'm not sure why, because so for both games, how they worked is both games had their own color tone as well for for everything, the world, for the characters of the Pokemon. So obviously, if you were playing Pokemon Blue, everything was in a blue tinted color, like all the shades and stuff, and then Pokemon Red, everything was in a red color. I think Blue just looked more appealing to me for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I think I remember my first star that I picked was, I think I went for Charmander. I think it was my
Did
first
you?
star. Yeah, and I immediately regretted it coming to the first gym.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, because like the first gym you come across in Pooh Sea was Rock type, and Rock was particularly strong against Fire types. So I think at that time, I think I just had like Charmander, uh, Metapod, Rattata, and I think I had one of the Nidorans. I can't remember if it was male or
Oh yeah.
female. I think it might have been female.
Yeah, I
But
think
I
for
got
them.
absolutely wiped out by Brock. So I was like, right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to go back and find some sort of grass type for this one.
Yeah. I think my first starter was what was it?
Squirrel,
No.
Bulbasaur.
Yes, that's the one. My first were Bulbasaur, so I got past the first couple of gyms fairly easily because grass is good against rock and water. So I didn't have too much trouble early on, apart from not reading the dialogue at all and getting stuck on the very first little bit of the game. Because at the very start, someone like blocked you off until you can go back to Professor Oak to get your Pokedex. And
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
shift, and then you can get to, was it Viridian Forest?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first sea you come across is Viridian Sea,
Mm.
which is um, which is quite cleverly designed as the actual 8th gym badge. But in story terms, they were like, "Oh, the gym leader's gone. We don't know where he is." And
Yeah.
so, I always got annoyed by I don't know why. I got annoyed by the old man that you run into in that sea that teaches you how to catch Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I don't know if you can catch Pokemon before you speak to him or not.
I
Can't
don't
remember
think
if you
so, because I
could.
think it gives you some Pokeballs, and then you can start catching after that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it gives you, I think it's like 5, so you
Yeah.
can fill out your team straight away. But yeah, good times, the little early stage at that point. So
Was there any bit that you found hard when you were going through the game, or did you find like going through Brock's gym the worst, like near the beginning, because of your typing choice?
um, he was saying it wasn't the hardest. I mean, that was just a typing thing. I think once I'd leveled up stuff, it became kind of easy at that point. So I think I ended up getting, it was Oddish, as my first grass type, who kind of eventually helped me beating Onyx. Hardest part of the game. Probably there's a puzzle that you have to work out in like one of Team Rocket's hideouts. Actually, there's probably two that's kind of hard. So there's one where you've got, I can't remember where it is. I think it's underneath.
Is it in the game corner where you?
I think so, because there's a point where you have to do this like button challenge where you have to press them in like a certain order to unlock something. But I just never somehow work out the order for ages. And then there's one in Sylph Tower, the whole conveyor belt puzzle. That was a nightmare. Being a child, like just trying to work out which conveyor belt you need to go on. It takes you where you need to go and not back to the beginning again.
Yeah.
Absolutely infuriating. And then was it the same one as well that's got the teleporters as well. That
Yeah.
was also quite infuriating. It's just puzzles. Child me just didn't like puzzles.
Yeah, just all about the battling. That's what we
So
wanted.
that's all right. The battling and the catching.
Did you ever complete the Pokédex?
I don't think I did. I don't think I ever did. Because like having red and blue was fine, but I don't think I had a trade link at that point. So I can never. I completed it to the point that I got everything other than what the other games had, but I never had the whole Pokédex. Although I don't think it meant that much at that point. I don't know what you got.
I think you get like a certificate thing from Professor Oak to say congratulations, and that's it. You don't get much at all.
Like, well done, you've completed the game.
Did you, when you were going through the game at this stage, did you ever try and find Mew? Because there was loads of stuff that came out about how you could get Mew, like cutting the car tires in near the SSN and stuff. And like Mew was hiding under that car if you cut the tires and stuff. I think that was a little bit too. This was a bit later on in my.
I don't think I knew about Mew until Gold and Silver. Because I think it's Gold and Silver where there was a rumor going about being able to get to the Orange Islands. From Vermilion Sea, because that's where you could get the SSN, I think, from. But there was some silly requirement about some sort of van or truck that you had to hide in or something, and then when the SSN had gone or something, you could do some sort of button press to get past the sailor, because every time you tried to go past the sailor, he'd tell you to go back because there's nothing there. And then apparently you could like jump over him or something, and then you could use surf. If you go straight downwards, you'd end up in like the Orange Islands and stuff. It was like, as a kid, you think that's all real and stuff, and you want to try and do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I mean, I love doing the missing number thing, because that was actually real.
Missing
and
no,
you could get
yeah.
missing no, and I did it once, and I managed to catch him and save him, and somehow didn't corrupt my game.
Oh, lucky you.
So I got to use this missing no that could like know all the moves and stuff, which was hilarious. No, was there any parts of the game that you found particularly difficult?
When I first got to the Elite Four, and when I was first playing it, I was very underleveled, so I had to grind a bit before I could beat them. But bar that, it wasn't overly difficult, I don't think. Not that I can remember anyway.
But
I think it was perfect for like the age that we were at that time in terms of its difficulty. There were enough there to make it challenging, but not enough so that we'd drop off. That and it was probably one of the only games that I did have, so I didn't have much choice but to try and get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very thankful for getting the XP share towards the end, which was helpful. Just being able to fill out the Pokédex, so being able to have. So I think was in Red and Blue. It wasn't all Pokemon that got an XP share. I think it was just
you gave the
top
XP
one.
share to one Pokemon.
Yeah, whoever was holding it, that was
it.
Which I was thankful for. But yeah, no, I think the whole appeal about the game was just catching all the monsters and being able to use different types and like work out which ones worked, which one didn't. Which one was your favorite one? Because like I think by the end of it, I think I had a team of Lapras, Charizard, Rhydon. Was it Rhydon? No, it might have been Nidoking. Did I have Alakazam? No, I wouldn't have had Alakazam at that point because I couldn't trade.
Couldn't trade, yeah. Yeah, so there were 4 Pokemon that you needed to trade to get them to evolve. So there was Alakazam,
Mm.
Machamp, Golem, and who was the
Gengar.
last one? Gengar. Yeah, that was it.
That was
So
interesting.
yeah, so you needed friends, or you needed to be rich. So you had 2 Game Boys, both the games, and a link cable.
Well, I was almost rich. I just didn't have the other Game Boy or Link cable.
Yeah.
I had everything else. No, but this games were just wonderful at the time. I think they came out at like the right time to become as popular as what they have done now, I suppose. And I mean, I don't know if I could go back and play them now. I think it would be something like what Let's Go did, which was bring them to modern
Current,
standards.
yeah.
Being able to have like the XP all is helpful. Well, actually, no, it don't have XP all, does it? It's just where you catch the XP was shared out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it just
Anyway.
automatically does it.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, a little bit different because this is like the 3rd game that came out. But I recently played Pokemon Yellow, and it holds up surprisingly well. I mean,
really?
I know Pokemon Yellow's got like a slight graphical bump, but I still enjoy it. I think,
Well, everything's in yellow, so
yeah. It's got well, I'm about 22 hours in so far. I think I'm on like my 5th gym badge, so ticking along nicely. So yeah, it's good.
Okay. It seems strange why in the 3rd game they still removed certain other Pokemon, so you still need like red and blue to complete that. It's like,
Yeah,
why?
because yeah, you as you went through, you did get all the starters. So you started off with Pikachu, and it was the first time I think that a Pokemon could follow you around, which was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
And as you go through the game, you can get all the starters from the original 3 games, so you can get.
Yeah, I think was it. I think you run into. I want to see you want to run into Bulbasaur first. See if that was Squirrel. I think Squirrel you get in Cerulean City.
Yeah, because you get past all them trainers, don't you? And then you get them at the top of that like grass bit. Yeah, you get them all fairly close together.
What you know is so they try and do it based on what was in the show and the anime, because I think Squirrel is quite mischievous with Officer
Because
Jenny's
it's
trying to.
Squirtle Squad.
I said it's the Squirrel Squad. I think Charmander. I think you just find
Sounds like a hip hop band.
hip hop band
Yeah.
Squirrel Squad. I think Charmander you find from a trainer. I think at some point. And I forgot how you do it with Bulbasaur. But the game was quite related to what was in the show as well. I think.
Oh yeah, you got Jesse and James in Yellow as well. Where as in
Jesse and James.
the original games, you only got like the grunts. So
no, that was fun seeing Jesse and James.
And Meowth, of course. Don't forget about him.
Talking Meowth. I liked the little improvements that Yellow brought in that we learned from Red and Blue. Because I think with Yellow as well, there was some stuff that it just made just a little bit more accessible, I think.
So what was really the hook about the first game? What was it that kept you interested in? Was it just the collecting?
I think it was
for me.
I think it was everything that came with it. Though there was I think it was the Pokemon card trading game. You were buying packs and stuff. I think it was you were watching the anime and you were playing the games. I think it all had a part in building the cult of Pokemon.
It was taking over the world.
Yeah,
it's like when I'm back at school. It's just like I was one of the few people who didn't take any interest in it, and everyone else was trading these cards. It's like what was? I just didn't get any of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was just. I think a lot was going for it because, like, when it came out, everything came out for it. So, like I think, like Nev said, you had the trading card game, which was going big. I remember the sticker books. I remember going to school and trading stickers.
Oh yeah, I can remember that.
Because we wanted to complete our sticker books.
Do you remember that other variant of card that they had that you could buy, and it like told you a bit about the Pokemon? So they weren't like proper
there was
Pokemon cards. They were like
no, there were ones based off the show because they had like they had little ones that had like screenshots of like what were in the show and stuff. So it explained what happened in the show as well. I don't know. There was something.
I don't think we'd had anything like it when it came.
Yeah,
along.
I think being able to say that like how the story went of like once kids got to an age of 10, they got they officially become like Pokemon trainers, and that's when they got to go out of the world. It was like a very like what's the term I'm looking for, like coming of age kind of story. Like you could be a Pokemon trainer when you're 10, you could go out in the world and get run over by buses and and cars, and like I always had like a nice imagination of like what would Pokemon be like in real life. Going out as like a 10-year-old on your own, become independent, somehow live in the wilderness and tent up and stuff. That must be strange, just having kids wandering around, just having Pokemon battle in the middle of city centre or something.
Yeah, that's it. So I was trying to get on bus that way home from work. And you've got a Raticate against a Kingler or something.
See, like a Taurus against like Mewtwo or something, just like absolutely wipes out them all.
That's just reminded me, when I first faced Mewtwo, when I first played the game, I ended up killing him. I didn't catch him, and I ended up using my Master Ball on something really rubbish, like a horsey or something.
So forgive me, if you kill him, does that change any major aspects of the game?
What? Get rid of Mewtwo?
Yeah.
No.
Does that mean you can never catch them all?
Yeah.
Never.
I think so. Yeah, I think in the early games it was you either caught it or you didn't, and that was it. So I think that's what happened to one of birds for me. I think I killed one of the birds. I was like, oh no, I've got to restart.
Yeah, so there's certain Pokemon. There's 4 Pokemon that you can only battle once. So there's the 3 legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and you'll find them as you go through the world. There is a little bit of puzzle towards it because Articuno's like on this ice island that you've got to try and traverse to get to him. Zapdos is in a power plant, and there's like a little puzzle to get to Zapdos. And I think Moltres was in the what's it called? That it's not Victory Road, is it? It's where it's that cave that you got to get through before you get to Pokemon League. That's where Moltres is.
No, it's Victory Road.
Yeah. So there's certain Pokemon that you can only face once, and if you like beat them, they'll like fly away, and you'll never be able to catch them again. So yeah, I ended up getting rid of the best one, which was Mewtwo. Mewtwo's like a post-game Pokemon. So once you've beaten the Elite Four and you've done that side of the game, then really you can traverse the world by like surfing to like swim around and get all the water types. You can fly around as well. It just makes the game much easier to try and go back and catch everything that you need. And there's this certain cave that you get access to after you've done the Elite Four, and then you can go and find Mewtwo in there and face him. But he's like level 70, which is a pretty decent level, and the most powerful one.
Yeah, he's like end game like guy. He's really high level.
Yeah.
I think is he in the cave that's next to Cerulean City?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's a stream you have to go around, like the back of it, in effect. Yeah, because I think there's a person that stands there and blocks you.
Yeah, it pretty much just says you're not ready for what's inside this cave or something.
I think, I'm pretty sure it's that, because that's the. Well, it ends up it's a I think like a 3-tier cave because you can find some of like the rarest Pokemon there as well, like Chansey and I want to say I could be wrong because I might remember this from Let's Go, but I think there's 2 opportunities to catch Snorlax because Snorlax is blocking certain routes as well.
Yeah, that's right. So when you're doing your 3rd gym to the right inside of the 3rd gym city, then there's one blocking it there, and there's one where the 4th gym leader is to the left before you go down that bike path. So yeah, there's 2 opportunities for Snorlax. So yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was just oh, go on, sorry, Mark.
Let's just say, so what's your favourite Pokemon of the original ones?
Of the
I'm
originals.
going to eliminate
The OG
you're
ones.
not allowed to have Pikachu.
Right.
Not to have Pikachu.
Ditto.
Ditto.
Ditto can transform into whatever Pokemon you
I
want.
that's cheating.
I thought you were just
You
saying
can
the word
get
Ditto.
Pikachu through that.
So what? Ditto, right. I'm going to look up Ditto.
Ditto's
So
like a little blob.
It's like a pink blob.
He's actually a failed
Okay,
Mew clone.
So what's so good about Ditto? I am looking at Ditto now.
So Ditto it's only got one move called Transform, but it'll transform into the Pokemon that it's fine against.
Height, he's 30.5 centimeters tall, 4 kilograms in weight. His weakness is fighting. What? It's not very good, is it? Sure.
Well, fighting is a type.
Well, fighting is a type.
Yeah, so it's just a typing.
Oh, well. Ability, Limber. Is that because he's a blob? So he's very limber.
Yep.
Right. Type, normal. Don't know what that means.
Surprised it's not psychic, actually. Considering what it is.
So you like him because he's a blob?
Well, I like him
him
because he
because
can transform into any Pokemon or anything, actually.
Yeah,
okay. He can transform into humans. Found that out in Detective Pikachu.
Scary.
Oh god, this is horrible.
Ditto is a unique Pokemon because it can breed with any Pokemon in a daycare center, regardless of its gender.
Yeah, no, that's true as well. Ditto's very handy in egg breed.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So what's yours then, Matthew?
I think I've always liked Cypher.
I just spelled
SCYTHER. I think just design-wise, it's cool.
Elaborate looking one. Cypher, 1.5 meters high, 56 kilograms. Weakness: ice, flying, fire, electric, and rock.
It is a bit
a lot of
weaknesses.
You know, I'm going on design-wise. Okay. He looks cool, right?
Yeah, he does. Type: bug, flying. Ability: swarm and technician.
No idea. Those were introduced after Red and Blue. You're probably looking at Sword and Shield type and stuff.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a green wasp kind of thing with sword kind of arms things.
Well, yeah. Cypher, aren't they? That's why it's called Cypher.
What's your favourite?
Does that make sense?
Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. That's
Detective
my favourite.
Pikachu's your
my favourite is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favourite Pokemon's Ryan Reynolds.
So I'll look at all Pokemon and just pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
You talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, cheers, pal.
Well, what's your worst Pokemon for like?
Ditto.
Oh, it's a love-hate relationship, is it?
It's a relationship. It's a difficult one to think.
Magikarp for me, actually, because he's useless.
Magikarp?
He gets good once you get to level 20. Though.
Yeah, but you've got to get to that bit. So, Magikarp is the most useless, flappy piece of crap ever. So he uses a move called Splash that doesn't even do anything.
So is this a fish?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So
now,
okay.
A red fish with looks sort of like a mustache.
Yeah, it's kind of like whiskers.
It's based on a carp or a catfish.
Really?
And he's magic.
Magikarp.
What's wrong with him? I quite like him.
Just doesn't do anything.
So in the game, he only has not he, but it could be a she. Did I assume the gender? So it only has one move that's called Splash, but it doesn't actually do any damage. It says it just flails about and doesn't do anything. So it can be a task if you got like a Magikarp at level 10 and it evolves at level 20. You'd have to put it first in your team, and every battle you come across, you'd have to switch it out like immediately. So the next Pokemon that comes out could end up getting attacked and potentially die, depending on circumstances. So it's a bit difficult to level up, which is probably better why you try and catch like more higher level Magikarp, because then once you say you go on at level 20 and just get out one level, then it evolves. Its evolution's really cool if you want to view it. It's called Gyarados.
Is a powerful one.
So it's like a blue dragon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a blue dragon fish.
There's actually some mythology around it, because you touched on this earlier, Matt, where it goes into the waterfall and then it evolves. So,
yeah, for Pokemon Snap, I think that's what they were playing on the mythology of it. Well, you probably know the mythology better.
yeah, basically it's the Japanese mythology of the fish going upwards in the waterfall, and then once it gets to a certain point, it transforms into a dragon.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a cool little play.
So yeah.
Where's Pokemon? Probably for me for game terms, because the only way you can get one is by having to spend about so many hours in the game corner to get so many coins for it. I'll probably say Porygon.
Yeah.
Like the only way to get one in the game is to win a bloody gambling
for children.
Yeah.
No wonder Team Rocket were running that thing.
I don't know how to describe this thing I'm looking at.
It's
like a teal and red
floating bird.
Looks like it's made of glass or something.
It's like a origami bird.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think in actual Pokemon lore, it's actually like a man-made Pokemon. I think electronically or something. I think so.
Yeah, there was some controversy about Porygon because when it first appeared in the anime, there was like loads of flashing and stuff behind it, and it caused a lot of people seizures. So they had to make adaptations.
I'm just reading here. It said this episode caused more than 600 children in Japan to be transferred to hospitals by ambulance because of seizure-like symptoms reported due to a flashing strobe effect present at several points in the episode, and was therefore banned and never aired again anywhere in the world.
Yeah, we never got it. We never got that episode over here. So there's a weird point where like Ash is suddenly somewhere else, and you're like, how did he get where?
Oh, whatever. I'm a 10-year-old kid. I don't care about the plot.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I don't think Porygon's ever really been used that much in the shows since.
No, I mean it's evolved a couple of times since, but bar that, no.
Yeah, its evolution's kind of cool. I do like its evolutions. They're better, but
Guess what its evolution's called, Mark? The first one, Porygon 2.
Good guess, Mark. Could you guess? It's this.
I know when it went on to be after that. Porygon instead.
Oh, the knowledge.
I'm not looking at this at all.
No, it's all from heart.
No, it's all from memory.
Yep. But yeah, I think for me that's about all I've got to say on the games and just the franchise as a whole, unless there's any more questions.
I've exhausted all my questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that, because of these games, Pokemon's just gone to be the biggest thing in the world, I think, gaming wise. And outside of Mario and Minecraft, I think you don't get anything bigger than Pokemon, especially culture-wise. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's got mass appeal for everyone. It's even got a cynical 30+ to somewhat enjoy a film about it. Not mentioning no names.
One thing I will give credit to Pokemon about is that it seems to be open to everyone, age group wise. Which kind of
Yeah.
Just when I look on the face of it, I think, this is maybe this is a kid's thing.
A bit childish.
It's become such a broad appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
I think obviously Pokemon Go has obviously helped that, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, I was going to get onto that. Like when Pokemon Go launched, I think everyone, their like grandparents were getting involved with Pokemon Go, just because it's just got that massive appeal of. I think it satisfied that childish dream of being able to catch Pokemon in real life by actually going out and sort of being able to do that.
Yeah.
In a way. Like I remember when it first came out, so like in the game there's like what we call gyms that around certain locations and that, and there was one outside our workplace, our old workplace, I should say now. And I remember when it started, like me and Nathan and a couple of others would go over there and we'd find random people there as well, like around trying to get the gym and get it for their team, which is kind of cool. And then we'd do it at a pub called Broadfield, where we'd find like people fighting over that gym as well in real time. It's such a massive appeal, I think.
So about that, would you all be able to catch the same thing there then, or is it like a fight, like the first one to catch it?
Oh no! When something spawns, it spawns for everybody.
Yeah.
So there's no like.
I'm just thinking of mobs running there trying to be the first one to get it.
Stealing Pokemon.
Yeah.
You're the real Team Rocket.
Yeah.
That would be mental. But it's stuff like gyms. You could like fight. You could fight people that were keeping the gym for their team, and then you put your Pokemon in, unless other people fought your gym before you could get your Pokemon in. There was a real battle for like gyms back in those days. Now
because you had to rebattle it and level it up to get your Pokemon in. But now it's changed so that you can have a maximum of 6 people in at a time. So they've changed the way that gyms work slightly, but still fun because you've got to like race to get people in. So, for example, if me and Lisa are out driving, because I'm not driving, then I can like get my Pokemon in. And sometimes I sneakily put myself in and not her if there's like one place left. I hope she doesn't listen to this.
No, she won't. She's right behind you.
But yeah, no, I love Pokemon Go. It's really fun. I did we did the Kanto event recently, as part of all this 25th year anniversary, 25th anniversary Pokemon stuff, and that was fun. So.
25 whole years of the critters.
And it's still not stopping.
Nope, still going as strong as it is. I wish Digimon was this, but.
I was going to mention Digimon. What's the key differences? Or are they pretty much the same? This going to be a very long answer? That's not a short answer.
So, short answer, Pokemon stands for Pocket Monsters. Digimon stands for Digital Monsters.
Okay.
The key difference is when Pokemon evolve, they stay evolved. When Digimon digivolve, they can go between stages. So they can go to the highest stage, but then can come back to their rookie stage.
Yeah.
So it's not a permanent change.
I think that was quite clever that they could like de-evolve. So they could sell the toys for the cute critters.
Well, yeah, pretty much. And Digimon was all about saving the world, whereas Pokemon's all about
the adventure.
Yeah, the Pokemon League, should we say? So there was key changes and differences, especially the games. Digimon's been in so many different variants of games; it's ridiculous compared to like Pokemon. Has always kind of had their main their main staple of catching Pokemon, and that's pretty much it. Digimon's more about taming them and growing them, in effect. Like they all evolved from Tamagotchis, what Digimon are, in effect.
Mm.
It's all about pets and growing them, feeding them, making them stronger and whatnot. So those are the key differences. And there was many schoolyard fights about which were better.
Okay. So there you have it. Pokemon Red and Green, or Red and Blue, into the Video Game Hall of Fame. If you enjoyed listening to us, please consider tuning in next time. We release bi-weekly on Tuesdays. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com, where we post blogs and the Hall of Fame. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. Also on YouTube, where we post this very podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Catch 'em all.